Hello, my royal darlings, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my home, and I am going to be doing today another question and answer video. Lots of you watched my previous one. By the way, I'm having my coffee. Yum yum. Lots of you liked my question and answer video, and I said, do you want another one? And you said yes. So I left a community post and I said, ask me all your questions, comments, if you've got any topics that you want me to talk about, leave them there and I will do another video. So here I am, back with another one. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So Fuzzy Puppet says, I'm curious how large Adelaide Cottage is. Do you know how large it is? How many bedrooms, etc.? Well, there are a few photos of the interior of Adelaide Cottage, historically speaking. So I will pop them on the screen as we talk about Adelaide Cottage. But Adelaide Cottage itself has always been kind of a royal retreat, or it's been used by staff or people that know the royal family. And it's actually a reasonably, I would say, it's a moderately sized home. It's bigger than what you would traditionally think is a cottage, but it's probably smaller than what you would think of as a large mansion. I think it's probably the smallest property that William and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales, currently call one of their homes. And of course they still have apartment 1A at Kensington Palace. They still have their Norfolk home and Mahal and a few other residences that they may use now that William has become Prince of Wales. So it's by royal standards, it's a moderately sized home. It's more of a retreat. So in that terms, it's, relatively normal. Some of you may even have bigger homes than that, but they do call it their main residence. Right next door to Adelaide Cottage is actually another structure, another building that I don't think has been renovated, but could be at some point. So if that was renovated, it would extend the square footage, if you like, of Adelaide Cottage even more. It could even be used for staff or anything of that nature, because staff are said not to actually be residing inside Adelaide Cottage. So yes, I do have some information about Adelaide Cottage. It was built in 1831 for Queen Adelaide, and it's currently the principal residence of the Prince and Princess of Wales, as we know. Now, the design information is quite interesting. The cottage incorporates building materials of John Nash's Royal Lodge from Windsor Great Park. At the time of construction in 1831, it was described as a chastely elegant. Is that another posh word for modest, maybe? And having 2 public rooms, in addition to a retiring room for the Queen and page's room, as well as furnishings from the former Royal Lodge and a marble fireplace mantle in the Regency Greco-Egyptian style. So quite fancy, quite elaborate, original feature decor inside. But only 2 principal rooms. The present cottage has 4 bedrooms, and that has been reported on by the press. The ceiling of this principal bedroom reuses decorative elements, including gilt dolphins and ropes from the former royal yacht, the Royal George, so before Britannia. It has been listed grade 2 on the National Heritage List for England, which means basically it's classed as an important historical building, and you have to go through extra planning consent, extra permissions. There are different rules and regulations when it comes to renovating. So if William and Catherine or the Crown Estates want to do anything, any extensions, any major alterations that haven't already been done and passed all of those consents, then they will have to get all the relevant grade 2 listed consents. So whilst we're on the subject of Adelaide Cottage, a little bit more about its history. So in 1831, under the supervision of architect Geoffrey Wyatville, the house was erected in the picturesque style for Queen Adelaide, obviously why we get Adelaide Cottage. Queen Victoria often visited the residence for breakfast and tea. Group Captain Peter Townsend, now he was equerry to King George VI, and of course famously had that kind of love scandal with Princess Margaret Rose, her late Majesty's sister. So it was given the property as a grace and favour residence in 1944. So grace and favour, like I said, members of staff who have usually high up positions could potentially have a grace and favour home to live at, which would help them do their duties because they are more accessible and on site. So he referred to the cottage as an icebox, so apparently very cold, with only 2 radiators at the time. I would imagine William and Catherine have added some more adequate heating since. Simon Rose, the son of Queen Elizabeth II's cousin Margaret Rose, I have made a video about her once, previously resided at the cottage. Major renovations took place in 2015 with the historical architecture still intact. So maybe we've still got the dolphins and the ropes on their bedroom ceiling. My goodness, maybe they swing from the ropes. I don't know. In the summer of 2022, Adelaide Cottage became the home of William, Prince of Wales, and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and their children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. The family pays market rent to the Crown Estate on this property. So it's not one that they own outright, but obviously when Prince William, the Prince of Wales, accedes to the throne as, you know, kind of custodian of the Crown Estates, it would be his anyway. So that little detail doesn't really add much interest. But yes, it's a moderately sized home, one of their smaller homes, and I would imagine it will be one of their principal residence whilst the children are at school, and they'll probably carry on flitting between Norfolk and Kensington Palace when they need to be in London at the same time altogether. But I think the residence that's probably not going to be used the most is Kensington at the moment. Right, good question. Thank you very, very much for that one. We had a little bit of a deep delve into some history, which I always enjoy. Right, Lucia says, do you think that George and his siblings will have the same amount of mediatic and tabloid pressure on them as their father had? I think interest will be there. I don't think necessarily the pressure will be there, although I'm sure the royal children, well, in particular, Prince George, will feel that pressure, but I don't think the tabloids or the media will be outwardly pushing for, you know, him to have a wife and then have children. I think those, well, maybe I'm being naive, I don't know. I think those days are over. I hope that those days are over and that we will allow the royal children to kind of grow into themselves before we push them into taking on relationships which are not right for them because they haven't, you know, tried other things and, you know, gone through a little bit of life experience. I think Prince William basically demonstrated that things had changed for him, or rather he was going to be in control of that pressure by making poor Catherine wait so long. You remember the Waity Katie headlines, which the media picked up on and kind of teased him and probably tortured her about. So maybe William waited a little bit too long, but he was basically demonstrating his control over that situation. His father, Prince Charles, felt that pressure to marry Diana, and of course that was not the love match, you know, made in rainbows and fairy tales that we all thought it was. So I think that things will be better for George, but in terms of the level of public interest, I don't think that's going away anytime soon. As soon as Prince George gets a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, there's going to be intense media interest. We'll, you know, be finding out all the details about this person. So I imagine that low-key relationships will be on the cards for the royal children. But yeah, I think the interest will be the same, but probably outwardly the press won't be as aggressive in, saying who will he marry or whatever. And of course, there hasn't been any provisions made in case Prince George wants a different type of relationship to what has been and gone before. So we'll get to that, I think, in 15, 20 years probably. Let's hope it's that long. Anyway, Elizabeth Jones says, with Princess Charlotte actually being in the spare, yes, she is, because the rules of royal primogeniture ended with the birth of Prince George. Things were changed. So that is why Prince Louis did not leapfrog Princess Charlotte in the line of succession. That doesn't extend to the rest of the aristocracy, it's just the line of succession, and it doesn't work retrospectively. So Princess Anne is still below Prince Andrew, even though she's older. There we go. So what was the question? With Princess Charlotte actually being the spare or second in line to the throne once William is king, which would be the appropriate title, Duchess or Princess Royal? There's been lots of talk and speculation about will she be given a Duchess title, and the title that was mooted was of course Edinburgh, which turned out to be completely false because that's gone to Prince Edward, the former Earl of Wessex, now Duke of Edinburgh. I never believed those rumours. I thought that was a load of hogwash, and I said so many times on this channel. And my goodness, it's sometimes nice to be proved right in the passage of time. I'm just saying. Anyway, I said it was a complete load of hogwash, and it was. I've always said that the title that is... I don't know why this title is often poo-pooed. It's often not seen as being a great title. It's the greatest royal title a female who is not going to be queen can actually have. Being the Princess Royal is probably, I would say, even higher regard than being a duchess in your own right. It's a fabulous title. I don't know why people are so kind of not wanting Charlotte to have it. But of course, she can't have that title until the current incumbent, Princess Anne, is basically no longer living. So there's been no precedent that I'm aware of where a Princess Royal has kind of abdicated that or given back that title or kind of ceased using it so that another person can have it. That potentially could happen, who knows. But typically what happens is you wait until the current incumbent passes away, and then it goes back to the crown and can be redistributed at the sovereign's leisure. So whether or not that's during King Charles's reign or King William's reign will remain to be seen. But I don't think she'll get a Duchess title in her own right unless she marries a duke, or unless she marries someone who is then made a duke. And then, of course, she would take the feminine courtesy style of Duchess, of whatever that might be. So I hope I've answered that question quite succinctly. Becky says, as Catherine is now Princess of Wales, what would Diana's title be if she was still alive today? Diana, of course, retained this title when she and Charles divorced. No, she didn't. This is kind of a long, misconstrued concept. Diana, while she was married to the Prince of Wales, was the Princess of Wales. Diana was also never Princess Diana in her own right. She was only a princess through marriage. So technically she was a Princess Charles. But of course we never called her that because the higher style is of course the Princess of Wales. Anyway, that aside, when Diana divorced from Charles, she was styled as a divorced member of the royal family. So her first name came first, Diana, and then Princess of Wales. We lose the, and Princess of Wales is used as a surname rather than a kind of title, if you like. So she wasn't the Princess of Wales, she was Diana, Princess of Wales at the time of her passing, and of course she lost the HRH. If she had still been alive today and was not given any other style or titles, then she would still be Diana, Princess of Wales, and of course Catherine would be the Princess of Wales. So we'd have a situation where we'd have the Princess of Wales and Diana, Princess of Wales, which would probably be confusing to some people. So maybe if Diana had still lived, maybe she would have been given another title. Maybe she would have been made a princess of the United Kingdom in her own right, and then she would have been known as Princess Diana, but that would have been at the discretion of Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II or His current Majesty King Charles III, depending on how well their relationships had gone as divorced parents of two boys who are now men, grown men with families of their own. We don't know what that relationship would have been. We could be in a situation today where we have a very happily married King Charles and Camilla, and Diana could have found her own love or whatever and be equally as happy in her relationship, and we could have had quite an amicable relationship between the two, which could have resulted in a change of title for Diana. We don't know, but I hope I've answered your question with regards to Princess of Wales. The Oslovian says, why do you think the British doesn't have more to do with the rest of the royals in Europe? As a Norwegian with a big interest for royals, it's odd, especially when our current King Harold is or was actually second cousin to Queen Elizabeth II. Do you follow the rest? And Violet has commented to that, because the British monarchy always believe they are better and more prestigious than European monarchy. Eventually, or even though they're all related via Queen Victoria. Yes, didn't the British royalty spend most of their time distancing themselves from European royalty, especially the German connections, to maintain their own popularity in the UK? So yes, lots of really interesting points. Personally, I take a passing interest in the European royals, and that's purely because doing what I do, being a royal reviewer, there's so much going on with our own royal family at home here in the United Kingdom that I don't have the time to deep delve into all the intricacies of European royalty as well. That's not to say that they're not interesting. There is a lot of interesting things going on with European royalty at the moment, including relationships, possible rumours of relationship breakdowns, facade marriages, the stripping of titles. I mean, it's all going on in Europe. It's all very interesting. But I have enough to keep me going with the British royals. There's a lot going on there. But in terms of their relationship with their sort of European relatives, I mean, we don't know what relationships they have behind the scenes. They may well be conversing with WhatsApp groups and all the rest of it. We just simply don't know. Obviously, whenever there is a foreign state visit, or whether we go over there or they come over here, it's always warm and welcoming. So I don't think there's any issue there. I think it's just that there is a lot. The British royalty as well is also obviously the sovereign currently is head of the Commonwealth. There's a lot of work there. There's a lot of work, even though the United Kingdom technically is rather small square footage wise, there's a lot that goes on. So, hopping on a plane or a boat and just doing lots of family visiting, there isn't often a lot of time to do that. And that's the same from, them to our royal family as well. So I don't think there's any shade involved with that at all. But yes, there are links all over Europe. Queen Victoria famously became, I suppose, the grandmother of Europe because she married, or rather instigated the marriages of her daughters, her many daughters, all across Europe. So the royal family connections are all over the place, basically. But no, I don't think they are distancing themselves from European royalty. But also, I think there is a different attitude from the British monarchy towards their role. And I think that was very much enshrined in Queen Elizabeth II's attitude. You know, she made that solemn vow that she was never going to abdicate, basically, that she was going to, whether my life be long or short. We all know that kind of famous speech. And she lived that truth, that solemn vow that she made. Whereas we've seen European monarchies, sovereigns abdicate in favour of younger royals, and I don't think that is going to be something that's going to transfer over to our monarchy. So in that respect, also Her late Majesty was, you know, the longest ever recorded reigning female monarch in the world. So that all kind of makes a little bit of a difference, and also how the world looks in and sees the monarchy. I think by abdicating, you kind of devalue that solemn vow. And I think that really is kind of seen, if you like. NAA7523 says, I put my question on the last post. It's a bit long. I'll go to the last post and see if I can find it. But I'll do that at the end. Tim says, have you accepted the Lord Jesus as your saviour? I'm open, my loves. Olympic Grad says, do King Charles and Queen Camilla still go on hunts? Ooh, good question. Do the rest of the family still hunt? Right. I mean, it's long been reported that they still do the traditional kind of Boxing Day hunt when they are at Sandringham for Christmas. So obviously over the past couple of years, with all what went on with the pandemic, that sort of didn't happen. But then there's no reason why that's not going to continue. They use, whether you're against hunting or pro-hunting, they use that as kind of land management, if you like. So the farming communities will know what I'm talking about. It's kind of used as a culling technique to manage the land, manage numbers, manage sustainability, which of course King Charles is all about. And then what is culled is used either for food back at Sandringham, or it's kind of put and sold on. So nothing is wasted. It's all done sustainably. But I know people are going to be either pro or against hunting, so we'll park that one there. But yes, it does still go on. I don't think it goes on as often. And like I say, I think what went on in the recent years kind of slowed things down. With regard to kind of riding, I think I've heard rumours that Queen Camilla hasn't ridden, that her riding days are over, and I don't think I've seen her. Have I seen her on a horse? I'm trying to think of. I don't think I've seen recent pictures of her horseback, and of course Her late Majesty still rode well into her 90s, but I think Queen Camilla may have different health issues, and that's not particularly something that she does anymore. But she does take a keen interest in the stud element of the royal stables, which of course King Charles has maintained from his mother. That's kind of her legacy, if you like, one of her passions. And I think Camilla does still have that passion in horses, so that will continue. But do the younger royals, I've seen them on horseback doing polo. Harry and William both do polo. But in terms of hunting, we haven't seen it. Like I say, it's a contentious issue, so I don't think they want to be seen doing it publicly, just because it could enlist debate, shall we say. So if it does go on, it goes on behind kind of closed doors. Right, I am now going to see if I can find that missing comment. Let me just go and find it. Okay, so I found the comment. NAA7523 said, was there not a state opening of Parliament last year? If not, why not? Yes, there was. It was kind of early. It was in May. And it was, of course, opened by Charles, as he was then Prince of Wales, and William also attended as Duke of Cambridge. Her late Majesty did not attend that opening of Parliament. So there is one scheduled for this year, and I think it was something like November the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. So we will see the first state opening very, very soon, and that will obviously be Charles's first as sovereign, as King Charles III. So the first time that he will be wearing, kind of reunited with the imperial state crown on his head for that state opening of Parliament. Remains to be seen what Her Majesty Queen Camilla might be wearing on her head. Will she go for the George IV state diadem, or will she go for the version of her coronation crown without the arches, used more as a coronet? Now, I'm not entirely sure, so that will be a point that I think most people will be interested to see. And it will be nice to see the sovereign walking up all those steps, because of course Her late Majesty used the lift in recent years. So yes, it will be nice to see a full kind of state opening of Parliament with the sovereign taking part, wearing the imperial state crown and all of the robes. Hopefully it won't be, I don't think it will be a dressed down version. And we expect to see the Prince and Princess of Wales attending for the first time as Prince and Princess of Wales. So that'll be very interesting. Right, thank you. This video's gone on for quite a long time. Let me know if you've enjoyed this question and answer video. If you do have any burning questions, I'll make another community post if you want to see more of these sorts of videos, and you can leave your questions there. So wait, hold on to them, and I will make a new community post if you want to see this sort of video. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and of course do hit that bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.